Hi everybody, I'm Leah of seejanedrill. In today's video, well, it's how to cut this kind of tile. Now I'm going to tell you all about it and I'm going to show you how it's done coming up next. So here's the thing, these kind of tile, these mosaic tiles, very, very popular today, but they create a few challenges. And they created a challenge for one of our viewers. He wrote in and he asked a question about this exact tile. Here it is. So this is what Jermaine asked. He said, "Hi Leah, I just got a discount on some discontinued tile. It has both metal and glass tile. I was going to buy what's on, try to install it myself, but I'm unsure of what type of blade I need. Any advice?" So here's the exact tile that Jermaine was talking about. Now, what is challenging, especially about this tile, beyond it being mosaic, is the fact that there's metal and glass. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tip it up so you can really see what I mean about it being a bit of a challenge. Notice how we've got metal, but we also have glass tile as well. Here's the thing, the manufacturer of this particular tile suggests that you use a wet saw. Now, if you're tempted to do that, I wouldn't, and here's why. So here's the problem with using a wet saw. When you're using a wet saw and you're just cutting tile, you're holding onto that tile and you're feeding it through. When you're cutting mixed materials like glass and metal, and they're individual pieces, the only thing that's holding the tile in place is glue on a mat. So imagine, you're feeding the tile through that you cannot hold on to because of all these individual pieces, and you're feeding it through. If the glue fails, something very bad could happen. And that's why I suggest that when it comes to mixed materials, glass and metal, because glass is tricky on its own, but then you're adding metal to it on something being held in place by glue, too much can go wrong. So I want to show you how to make these cuts in a safe way. So I've struck my line, okay? I know where I need to make my cut. Now, this process is by far the safest way to do it. Now, the beauty with these tile are they're just being held in place with the glue. They pop right out, okay? Just pull this, see? That's it. Okay, so I've popped out one metal. Let's pop out this glass piece. We'll do one metal, one glass. Okay, so that's our glass piece. And you just continue along the line, pop out the pieces. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to cut the glass. I'm going to show you how to cut the metal. We're going to take our metal piece and we're going to stick it in the vise. All right. Just like so. Where it's riding up above the vise. See where it's riding up above? And we're going to apply a little pressure, not a whole lot, because you don't want to compress the piece. You just want to hold it firmly in place. Now that's firm. Now I'm going to make my cut from above. And I'm going to use a hacksaw, or you may want to use a smaller hacksaw. Now I'm using my thumb to keep the saw on track until it starts to really bite into the metal. And then once it bites in, I can move my thumb. Once you get it all the way through, once you get it as far as you can go without touching the vise, now it's time to slide it back some. Okay, now I'm going to take the piece out of the vise. Now, I put on gloves because there's some metal shavings there, and I'd rather not get it in my skin. So there's our piece. Place it in our vise, okay? And again, don't add too much pressure because you don't want to bend the metal. Just enough to hold it securely. Now I want to finish it up with the smaller blade. There we go. Now we're going to cut this piece here, and we're going to do it with a manual tile cutter. This tool right here. Now, because this line is on a diagonal, what I have to do is I have to make certain that I can hold this in place while I make the cut. And the way I'm going to do that is with this piece of wood. I'm going to use this as a jig to hold the tile in place, which will allow me to make the cut with a manual tile cutter. What you want to do is you want to exert firm pressure to the little wheel here, to this little wheel, and it'll allow you to score the glass across. I'm holding the jig by hand in place, starting right here on the edge, and now I'm going to push forward. Okay, so I've scored my glass. So now I've scored my glass. Can you see the score line? Now all I have to do is snap it. And that's it. So that's our cut. So here's our glass piece and our metal piece that we've cut. Now what I've done is I took a little piece of sandpaper and I made certain that the edge wasn't sharp because, well, we don't want to cut ourselves when we're installing the pieces. And I did the same thing to the metal piece. So that's all there is to it. Now it may be a little more time consuming, but I guarantee it's a lot safer than doing it the other way. This is Leah saying you can do this. See you next time.